mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glories stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts singing Alleluia. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. If you haven't done so yet, drop a hello in the comments. And if you're joining me live, I'm so happy. And if you're watching this on the replay, well, then I'm glad you found it. A week before Christmas. So I thought it would be a great time to, I know for me, usually a week before Christmas, a lot of chaos, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations. And I thought it would be a nice gift to all of you if we could just get together for a short coffee chat and maybe just take a minute to just think about all that we have to be grateful for. And maybe I even, to start out, I guess I want to just 30 seconds, 1 minute, I just want to sit in silence because I think our lives are so filled with noise. And I am a firm believer that we get the downloads, if you would, when it's when we sit in silence, right? It's the gap between the notes, right, that really makes the music. So I just want to take 30 seconds or so. And if you can't sit in silence because you're busy gift wrapping, or maybe you're working or out running errands, that's okay too. So just take a minute to think about the week ahead and all that we have to be grateful for. Thank you for indulging me. I hope that little bit of silence was as beneficial to you as it always is to me. Because, like I said, I find myself the week, especially at this point in time, right, the week before the holiday, always trying to get through my to-do list, and I'm always living ahead of myself. Always thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to make Christmas Eve, to make Christmas Day perfect? And I think we need to take a step back and, as much as we can, be in the moment, be in the day. And I can tell you right now, after 5+ decades of being on this earth, everything always has a way of working out. Everything always has a way of taking care of itself. So, and if any of you, I'm sure most of you know my backstory, I don't have a lot of good childhood memories of Christmas. So I have always tried to make Christmas memories for my family as memorable as possible. Certainly not perfect, but memorable. And I can say that now when my children come over and they visit and whatnot, we talk about Christmases past, and they always have fun stories to share, how they viewed it through their eyes. So I feel I accomplished what I set out to do. And now that I'm an empty nester, I try and focus more on slowing down and, I guess, trying to appreciate the season more, especially for my grandchildren. So, hello everybody. Hi, Mike. I have my friend here, and I'm sorry, I don't know your first name. Please drop your first name in the comments. I know you're from Brazil, but I don't know your first name. So happy you're here. So let me ask, what does this week look like for you? Mike, I know you're traveling back and forth quite a bit between home and work. Hopefully you get to spend a little bit of time at home with the family on Christmas and not working the whole time. But drop in the comments what your week is looking like. And I guess, for me, what Christmas represents for me, right, is ultimately love. Being a Christian, my belief is that God sent his son to save us all. And if that's not the ultimate love, then I certainly don't know what is. And even if you do not view it like that, I think we can all acknowledge that this time of year, in most cases, there's a little bit more goodwill, there's a little bit more kindness and generosity going around than in other seasons. And again, love is one of the highest frequencies you can have. So just remember that going into this week as well. If we can think about all the things in our life that bring us love, that fill us up. And maybe there's somebody in your life that is struggling right now and going through a rough season. Maybe you can send them love and they will feel it. They will. Just lift them up in prayer. Yes, I have to watch straight the next 5 days and then I'm off for 3. That's awesome, Mike. I'm so happy. Let me see. Let me put. Okay, so Scott had showed me how to click on your avatar and your comment would pop up. But I did something in my last live that I can no longer do that. So I will get that corrected for my next live. Just going through my notes. And I think, for me, pausing like this, and I typically do my lives on Sunday, and I have a conflict this week, so I thought, why not switch it up a little bit, and especially the week before, so pausing like this, I just think it brings us all back into the moment. So, yeah. Technology. Scott's supposed to be helping me tomorrow, Mike. So let's see if we can get this corrected. So what else? I guess what else this week can you do to help, I guess, slow down a little bit? What can you do to be in the moment? And maybe if you're working, I understand you can't do that. But what can you do for yourself that will pull you back from, visualizing what you're seeing in the future? Because most of the times when we're envisioning things, we're not envisioning things in a positive light. We're always thinking about everything that can go wrong or what we still have to do. So what can you do to kind of bring it back just to the moment, just to today, and I guess just live from that between now and Christmas Day? And is there somebody that actually celebrates something other than Christmas? Maybe Hanukkah. I believe we're in Hanukkah right now. I think it started last Sunday. So what is this, day 5? I'd love to hear those traditions. So drop those in the comments. And if you could summarize the season with just one word, how would you, just one word, what would you say Christmas represents for you? And especially if you can bring it around a feeling. I'm all about the feelings. So, hi Daniel. So happy you could join us. We just sort of started, and we started with just taking a minute to breathe and to just be in the moment, and I guess just acknowledge all the good that's in our life, and I guess everything that just we hold near and dear to our heart, and the love that we feel, whether it's for friends, for family, our home, everything that brings us joy. So thank you for joining. But let me ask, between now and then, Daniel, do you have any traditions that, or Mike, or do you have any traditions that you follow? Do you have, a yearly, an annual Christmas Eve gathering? I know my mother-in-law, my husband's family always did the 7 fishes on Christmas Eve. And my mother-in-law was the best cook ever. And she passed a few years ago, but my husband and his siblings tried to carry on as much as they can what she did. I mean, nobody will do what she did, but we try. We try. So, does anybody else have any traditions that they do? Hey, how are you? Good to see you, Healthy Kitchen. So, Healthy Kitchen, do you have any suggestions between now and Christmas as far as I guess how we can keep this the most healthy as possible while still enjoying the festivities of sometimes what the holiday holds? No traditions, Mike? And that's okay too, because you know what? It's sometimes those traditions that, as good as they are and as memorable as they are for the children, sometimes they're not that way for the adults. Um, that I will say that my mother-in-law, year after year, the stress that I would see, uh, she would comment every year how much work it was. Though she always wanted to do it. She did Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. She wanted to do both. So God bless her. But it was very stressful for her, very stressful. She would just give my father-in-law all these tasks to do. He did them like a trooper. So, does anybody else, any other traditions that folks may do between now and Christmas Day? Our Christmas Day is relatively small. It's just, well, it is growing, but it's myself, my children. So my husband and I and our children. And now that their families are expanding, my daughter-in-law, and then one of my other daughters has a longtime boyfriend, so he joins us. And now my son also has his little girl and another one on the way in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. We'll see when my grandson decides to show up. That will be fun. At my parents', we read the Christmas story in the Bible every year. But Carissa and I started last year on Christmas Day. We both work, but we go to our local Chinese restaurant, then go home and chill. Oh my goodness. So there's something about Chinese food this time of year, in my mind, that makes it taste just a tad better. We're big Chinese food people on Christmas Eve. I don't know if anybody else does that. And we have actually had to kind of find different Chinese restaurants because as the years have progressed, it seems a lot of people do Chinese food on New Year's Eve. So they start prepping it, and a lot of it is pre-made. So to me, when we go to our favorite Chinese food restaurant, the food just wasn't as fresh as it typically is. So we've had to find smaller restaurants that don't pre-make all their food. But there's something about having, for us, Chinese food on New Year's Eve. We absolutely love it. And I like that you read the Christmas story, Daniel. And I think that's one of the things I started out with is what Christmas ultimately represents to me is love, right? Because God sent his son for all of us, and if that's not love, then I don't know what is. And love is obviously one of the highest frequencies you can have. So even just taking, like we did in the beginning, and you take that minute and you can just focus on that love and just truly feel it, think about something in your life, someone in your life that you truly love, that actually raises your vibration. I mean, I don't want to get too heavy into this live about that, but it's those little moments like that that stack upon one another. And that is how you can change your frequency, and that is how you can change your life. So I like to hear that you do that. One of the other things we have done most Christmas Eves, there's been a few that we have not, is we will go to our church. But again, it has gotten to be so commercialized that sometimes I feel it loses just the tender moment of what it's supposed to represent. It's like each year they build on year after year, and they have to make it more magnificent, more spectacular. And all the people who never go to church are there, and that's okay. That's okay. Um, but it just kind of takes away a little bit because it's, you herd it in and you herd it out so they can start the next Mass. And, the message of giving money is always a little bit more intense at Christmas in my church, which I don't necessarily care for. So, again, I do like going. I like going because how it makes me feel. But some of the commercialization, even in the church, is getting to be a bit too much. So there have been a couple of years that we haven't gone simply because of that. So does anybody else do a Christmas Eve Mass or Christmas Day? Our church doesn't hold a Christmas Day Mass. So I'm not sure why. They just never have. Is anyone getting any snow between now and Christmas? Gonna have a white Christmas? We have quite a bit of snow outside right now, so I would imagine it'll stick around for another week. It's supposed to be a little bit warm today and tomorrow, but I don't think it'll all melt. And when I say a little bit warm, I mean 50, which probably for Mike, 50. And I'm not sure what the temps are in Indiana, but I would imagine 50 in Minnesota is kind of balmy. So, but it's typically around 30. But I don't see any other storms coming between now and Christmas. But I think some of this will hang around. So we will have a white Christmas. And then after Christmas, or let's say after the New Year, I am done with snow. I don't want any more snow. I am not a skier. My children are, but I am not. So I would be quite content if the Lord would just bless us with nothing but 60-degree weather between now and April, and then go up from there. So my children would probably yell at me if they heard me say that, but I am not a snow person, just right through Christmas. Other than that, not too much. So question for you, Daniel. Is there any hunting that goes on in the winter months? And if that's a dumb question, I apologize. Is there anything that I know through the fall there is, but I didn't know if in the winter does it stop because maybe the animals hibernate or they're a little bit more scarce. I mean, I know deer don't hibernate, but we have black bears up here, and I don't see too many of them. I've only seen them a couple times, and right now they're not around. So it's safe to go running right now, and it's safe to go running anytime as long as you carry some type of noise that would distract them, and they don't want to cross your path. But people make it out to be more than it is. So you're having a heat wave too. 40. Wow, that is a heat wave, Mike. It must feel good though to thaw out a little bit. I admit that cold wind. And I have chickens at home, and they will not step out of their run if there's a flake of snow on the ground. They just do not like the snow. They can deal with the cold, but they do not like the snow. They just huddle in the run, huddle under the coop, stay in the coop. So, but then they get bored and they start, I guess, bullying each other. So there's a lot of refereeing going on with my chickens when it snows a lot. So your church usually does something this Sunday before. Yeah, my church actually does too. They do something, they call it a monologue, where it's typically the lead pastor. It has been other folks in the church, but typically it's the lead pastor who does a monologue around a piece of the Christmas story. Not typically the whole story. And it's typically from the viewpoint of not a lead character, if that makes sense. Maybe it's from, a bystander that, that was at the inn, or maybe a shepherd, but it's not like typically from a main character in the story. And I will say his monologues are top notch. He definitely he missed his calling as far as being, he could have been an actor, but we all appreciate it. So yes, the week before Christmas as well is just as busy, maybe not, but almost just as busy as like the Christmas Eve masses, because everybody goes for that monologue, which is nice. So, now that I think about it, I had commented that there was a couple years we didn't go to Christmas Eve mass. It was actually more than that, because I think, was it back in 2020? We all know what happened. Our church shut down, and they actually stayed shut down for 2 Christmas seasons. They did everything live stream, so you were able to watch it from home. Obviously, it didn't have the same energy as if you were there, but I still don't understand why they would shut the churches down. But that's a story for a different day. So there's probably been maybe 4 or 5 times that we haven't been in person in the Christmas Eve masses. So. Healthy Kitchen, you're in Florida. I have a lot of Florida friends that follow my channel. And Granny's Southern Corner, maybe you know her channel, but yeah, she likes to tell us how, today it's only 70 degrees. It's a little chilly today. And you have to laugh when Granny says that. And if anybody doesn't know who Granny's Southern Corner channel is, I suggest you go over there. I just watched a video of hers this morning, and she just drops wisdom bombs like nobody. Maybe just like a grandmother can, right? She's gone through a lot in life. She's, lived a lot, and she just comes out in the most natural way and says things that usually hit home. So if you don't follow her, please go take a look at her channel. You won't be disappointed. And one of the other things that I had learned about her channel, about her, is that she actually has 4 generations living in her house. And I love that. I just think that's amazing. And especially with the way things are today in the economy, and especially for our younger generation, that if people aren't left homes or given properties, it is very, very difficult for like my children's generation to get a home today. My son was fortunate. They were able to get a home in 2020 before everything went crazy. But now I'm hearing that first-time home buyers are on average 42 years old, which just bewilders me. So anyways, I love the fact, I don't want to get off topic, I love the fact that she has 4 generations living in her home. So such an inspiration. Oh, so you just subscribed to her. Oh, so you know Granny too, Healthy Kitchen. Awesome. So, yep, so then you all know what I'm talking about. And like I said, she just dropped a video, or at least I just saw it this morning, so maybe she dropped it yesterday, but just about kindness and, not being judgmental, right? I think that's something we all need to be reminded of, because no matter how nice and how kind we are, we all have moments that we judge, even if we don't verbalize it. And I think sometimes we judge not because of the other person, but it's because of something that's reflected in us. So when you do judge, I suggest, and this is what I do, stop and reflect why you just judged somebody. And I honestly believe most of us are doing the best we can in life, and I generally believe that people are good. I really do. I do understand there's not so good people, but I think that's just because they've stepped away from, they're just further away from the light, if you would. And I believe anybody can walk closer if they so choose. And they can be kind and good. Granny, were your ears ringing? Yes, we were talking about you. So I was just telling them about the wisdom bombs that you dropped, and the one that I just watched this morning about being kind and not being judgmental. So, and I think we all need to sometimes reflect inward if we are being judgmental as to why. If you have a chance, check out my friend's page. Mike, who are you talking about? And Mike, well, I think most people know, but maybe not if you were on Scott's Live last night. But Mike just reached 500 subscribers, which is huge, okay? You know, I feel that first, the different milestones are from 0 to 100. I mean, just to get to 100 sometimes feels like it takes an eternity. And then to go to 500 and then that 1,000, I do feel like it picks up once you get past that 1,000, but it's just getting to that first 1,000. And I know I hear all the time from different coaches and mentors that I have that, oh, well, Lori, subscribers aren't that important anymore. Well, they really are. You need that first 1,000. Maybe they're not as important after that, but to be honest, it's still a reflection of how you feel your channel is doing, right? Is your subscribers. The more people that subscribe, then you feel like your message is getting out there. So yes, I hear these gurus saying that subscribers aren't as important, but in reality, they are. So, but anyways, congratulations, Mike, for hitting that 500. It's a huge milestone. I wish I could show all these comments. Okay, so I'm going to back up and I just subscribed to her. Yes, Granny, we were talking about you. So Healthy Kitchen, I just made New England clam chowder on my channel. Well, we're going to have to check that out. I love clam chowder, is one of my favorites. So we will check that out. And you know what? I was just talking about in the beginning how we try and carry on my mother-in-law's Christmas Eve traditions of the 7 fishes. Maybe we can add that clam chowder, and that could be one of our fishes. You're right, Granny. There is goodness in most people. And people can always make that choice, right? You can always make that choice. I don't accept circumstances, you know, I don't accept anything to be unkind to somebody else. Sally DS Reality. Okay, thank you, Mike. I must have missed, I didn't see the channel name. So yes, everybody, if you could check out, I would check it out now, but sorry, one of those things is I don't know how to share my screen in Ecamm, but I will learn so that way I can start maybe checking these things out in real time. If you have an interesting journey, has it ups and downs. Yes, YouTube is an interesting journey. But Granny, don't, and I know, and I've heard you say this, so I think you agree with me. I started this channel solely to help people. That was what I wanted to do. It just, especially in this last video that I just dropped, I talked about it a little bit. But I have gotten just as much, if not more, from all of you than I even thought about. I just didn't think about that. And I have been touched by so many people, and I spend an hour in the morning and an hour in the late afternoon just going through people's videos. And I literally book time on my calendar to make sure, because it's important to me. It's important to not only support all of you, but you guys bring me joy. You know, you just bring me joy. So they're just moments, those 2 hours every day are something I look forward to. So you're right, Granny, it is an interesting journey. And the one piece of advice, I by far cannot give any advice on growing a YouTube channel, but the one thing I am learning, I've been doing this since May, is that follow your gut, follow your heart, and just speak as authentically as you can. I have spent so much money getting coached and they all mean well. They all mean well. Um, but I haven't seen anybody really help me move the needle yet. So maybe it's just me, but I feel the more authentic I can be and not always worried about the hook and not always worried about rehooking them and just all the things that they're trying to get you to remember and the story arcs and it it's become a full-time job to follow all their advice. And again, no reflection on any of them. They all absolutely mean well. They all have tremendous channels. But I think growing your channel is different for everybody. It really, really is. So that's the only advice I can ever give is just follow your heart. Uh, Entreaty by Rhonda Hensley. It's another channel, Mike, that we should check out. We will. They will be on my list. Yes, Granny. Seven Fishes. I was saying earlier how my mother-in-law, her Christmas Eve tradition was the seven fishes. I mean, and it wasn't just, it may have been like, shrimp, two different types of shrimp. It was anchovies in the anchovy sauce, and then we did lobster. So it wasn't just, seven fishes. They'd be wrapped up in the recipes somehow. So, and I was saying how my mother-in-law passed a few years ago, but my husband and his siblings try to carry on as much as she used to do. But it takes the three of them to do what my mother-in-law did. So she was quite the woman. The chowder was so yummy. If I can see that little emoji. I will go check out their channels, Mike. I love to find new channels, and I'll be honest. Sometimes I hate the algorithm because sometimes it feeds me up things that I'm totally not interested in, and it's simply because I watched one thing, and all of a sudden now I have 55 videos in my feed, sort of along those lines, along those topics, and most of them are political, and and there's a time and place for politics. I don't want them in my feed. If I want to learn about something, or I will go look for it. I don't want it in my feed. I just don't want that energy in my feed. So I will go check out those three channels. Thank you. Yeah, bring yourself joy, right, Granny? And I know you've talked about this on your lives too, that how much you love doing it. And I even think Nana enjoys doing it, right? So week after week, at least I've probably been going to your lives maybe a couple of months now. I just see her a little bit more engaged each week, which is really nice. Which is really nice. I love seeing that. And I don't know exactly when you joined, Granny, but we were also talking about how I love the fact that you have 4 generations living in your home. I just love that. I just love that. So, and I was just expressing that to folks. So, thank you, Mike. I definitely appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I would love for more people to join these lives because I think being around the same like-minded people with the same type of heart, the same type of energy, I think it helps all of us. There's enough sadness and not kindness in the world that the more we can just be around each other. And I know I've talked about this book before, but in James Clear's Atomic Habits book, it's one of the things he talks about, right? It's one of the things you become a byproduct of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And that is 100% true. 100% true. I've recognized that in my own life. I've seen it in my children's lives. I've seen it in friends' lives. And and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same physical proximity. It's just the people that you find yourself around all the time. So that could even be if you're watching influences maybe that aren't spreading the right message. So yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And again, surround yourself with high energy, good, kind people. It's what we all want. It's what we all need. And then maybe the needle will move a little bit in this world. Hey, Deb and Mike. Oh, I love seeing so many people here. Thank you. Thank you for joining. All those ladies have helped me in so many different ways and helped my channel grow. But Mike, isn't that what it's about? All of us just helping one another. And I know Granny says this all the time too, but whether it's with our channels or just in life, isn't that truly what life is about? I mean, and okay, I admit sometimes maybe it took me a little bit longer to figure that out. I mean, I've always been kind. I've always tried to help people. But I actually think, we go through certain things in our lives, certain seasons, simply so that we can then get through them, but to turn around and help somebody else that needs that help. And then they turn around, and then they turn around. Have you ever done an act of kindness? Or even as simply, like Granny said in her video this morning, just saying hi to somebody and waving to somebody. Do you know that immediately, well, maybe not in her examples this morning, but typically that immediately makes somebody feel better about themselves, just that they're seen? I think most of us walk through our days not ever really feeling seen. So just saying hi or smiling at somebody, it just makes them feel seen, makes them feel good. And then in turn, they will likely do something and say hi to somebody else. So it's just that chain reaction, that chain of love. So I truly believe that that's what life is all about, is being able to turn around and help somebody else. So that's good to hear, Mike. As you know, I don't do fancy or special. It's just me and my little videos. No, Granny, it's not just you. You drop wisdom bombs like nobody's business. And you say it in just a very simple way, which everybody resonates with. So, no, it's more. Your channel is more than just, you. And you've inspired me. You have inspired me in so many ways. Just the simplicity of it, and just getting out there and just being you. So, every channel I watch, I feel sometimes, because I won't follow a channel if I don't like, obviously, the person. And I feel every channel that I watch, whether it's, just the inspiration even that, Deb and Mike and their travels and their journey. I mean, I love that. And I certainly love it. And I know everybody's heard this story, so I won't go back into it. But my middle daughter travels the country and does the same thing. So I just love the fact that, somebody in my generation is doing the same thing. And actually, Deb and Mike, I told her she should start following you guys, because she's out there sharing her stories. So I said, oh, you should just watch them and see it from a different perspective. So I just wish she wouldn't travel alone all the time. But I trust God. I trust God that he's watching over her. At YouTube over... I don't know what, at YouTube over 40, I don't know what that was in reference to, Mike. I'm sorry. I love trying to carry on family tradition. So that was one of the questions, Granny, I had asked in the beginning was, what do you do for family tradition? Whether it's like the 7 fishes, like I said, my mother-in-law did, or going to church on Christmas Eve. Daniel talked about reading the Christmas story and then going for Chinese food. Yeah, I think it's those traditions sometimes, especially in our kids, that they really, really look forward to. So, and one of the things that I had talked about in the beginning is that I don't have a lot of good memories from my childhood Christmases. So when I had start building a family, it was so important for me to make sure my children had good Christmas memories. Not that the Christmases were perfect, but I just wanted them to have good Christmas memories. And I have shared that now that when they come over and we talk about it or whatever, they do. I mean, we sit around and we laugh about some of the stuff now. And we did the elves, not for my son. He was sort of before the elves, but for my youngest daughter, we did Elf on the Shelf, and we actually, instead of doing the traditional Elf on the Shelf, we did an Anna Lee doll, and it was actually my mother-in-law who started it for us. But just those stories, and we crack up and laugh. And she still has her Elf on the Shelf, so it's fun. It's fun when they come over and we reminisce. But yes, those family traditions, they're very, very important, especially for the children. And, I think of your granddaughter and what amazing memories she's going to have. Even, you made gingerbread houses the other day. She's always going to remember that, Granny, always. Oh, another channel. Thank you, Mike. Don't, drop as many as you want. I'm going to write them down after this. You can tell Nana loves it. Yes, I'm probably really behind on the comments. I'm sorry. So you just joined this past April, Granny? Okay, that's when you started your... You know what? And I probably missed it. I'm sure you've talked about it, but maybe on your next live, you can talk about what prompted you to start your channel. Did somebody suggest you started it? Were you just watching people and you're like, I can do that? I'm curious. Hello, tracking with Deb and Sue. Deb and Sue also know all the people I just listed. Doing lives is a great way to grow your channel. Yeah, it is, Daniel. And your channel is actually, since you hit that 3,000 mark, maybe a month ago, I don't remember exactly, but it seems like it's just sort of multiplying pretty quickly for you. You're doing an amazing job, amazing. So keep going. Though I did like your cooking episode that you did with Mimi, or I'm not sure if it's Mimi or May. You got to do more. Okay, you got to bring her on. You got to bring her on the channel more. So I liked you guys together. You had really good energy. It was fun. Deb and Mike. Yeah, I knew who you were talking about, Mike. You like James Clear. Yeah, Atomic Habits, right? Most people have read that book. And he talk about wisdom. He drops some great things in there. I don't watch TV really. I choose to watch the people I enjoy on YouTube. I'm with you. I am 100% with you. I don't think we watch any. I shouldn't say that. We do watch some shows on Netflix. But then once you're through the 5 or 6 from that season, then, we're not watching anything. We don't watch a ton, but we've watched Landman, and we've watched on Apple TV, we've watched Shrinking, which is a good series. If anybody has Apple TV, Shrinking is a really cute, funny, heartwarming series. I think there's 3 seasons out, or maybe 2 seasons. I don't remember, but it's a show where you literally are cheering for everybody in the show. You just love everybody in the show. So anybody who has Apple TV, watch Shrinking. I really enjoyed it. %. That's why I try to get into everybody's lives. Yes, thank you, Mike. I know I appreciate it. I just cleaned up some of my social media from things that make my mind not content. Yes, right? Right, and that's what I was talking about. I'm probably really far behind. I sometimes feel that the chat is really delayed for me, so I apologize if all this has been talked about. But yeah, that's why, I almost want to go incognito when I'm looking for something that's sort of a one-off, because then the algorithm will just give you all this slop that you necessarily don't want. When I stop someone and say, hi, I love the outfit or whatever, for the most part, light up. Right. Yes, they do. Just even if you've ever checked out of a store, I make it a habit every single day to say something kind about somebody, whether I don't know. I mean, even just the other day, the kid bagging my groceries did such a good job because they usually do an awful job that he just took the time and did it properly. And he was just thrilled that I told him what a great job he did. I told him he'd be good at Tetris. So they're all true, Granny. All my words are true. We made tamales. So, Deb, Deb and Mike, do you do any lives? I know you're in Mexico, and I know you're at an Airbnb for a little while. Um, Maybe you can do, and if you do lives, then I guess I just don't know about them, and I would certainly love to join them. So I think you guys should do, you know, just a couple times while you're there, at least. We have Nana read the Christmas story on Christmas Eve. We also have our breakfast casserole on Christmas morning, and the elf is new this year to us. Christmas casserole. What type of casserole is it? We make an egg sausage and cheese souffle, but we do that for New Year's morning. We don't do it for Christmas Day morning because we do a huge roast beef dinner, so we just don't do any big breakfast that day. I want my kids and grandkids to always have a special feeling about family and Christmas. The key word, Granny, is feeling. It's all about the feelings, folks. It really is all about the feelings. Again, I don't want to get into too much, go too deep here, but it's the feelings that change the trajectory of your life, change your frequency, which changes the trajectory of your life. It's the feelings. It's not just thinking about it. Sure, think about it. And if it makes you feel a certain way, that's what moves it. So you said the key word, Granny, feelings. My daughter and dear friend Matt told me for years to do YouTube, but my granddaughter was the real inspiration, told me, Granny, you can do it. Oh my goodness, how sweet is that? That is so sweet. Does she like watching you? Do you let her watch you after you post something? I mean, maybe some of the content, no, but she must watch the reading you do, right? The Laura Ingalls reading that you do. I watch a lovely show. It's all great and small. It's British. I have not heard of that. Though you say British and it made me think of Downton Abbey. I've watched all seasons. I've watched all the one-off movies that they've had come out. I really enjoyed that show. Again, it's just a feel-good show. It was just, so I like that one. She is Healthy Kitchen. Yes, Granny's doing great. She's really doing good. Healthy Kitchen, you don't do lives? Um, Maybe you should. I know it's maybe seems kind of scary, but I'm telling you, you tell us you're doing a live and we will all be there to support you. So just give us the word. Exploradora 80, she goes live most every day, 3 o'clock Central Time, but she's in Australia. Gonna have to check that one out. You fill it with breakfast meats, eggs, and cheese. Okay, yep. So it sounds like the egg souffle that we do. We just put sausage in ours, but maybe you put ham and stuff in yours as well. Oh, I'm all caught up on. She does watch you. Mostly likes to boss. That's okay. I'm sure she's bossing you around with love. So I I also opened up saying that my typical time I go live is Sunday nights, but maybe Thursday mornings may be a better time. I loved having all this interaction. I cannot express how thankful I am for all of you, and I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. Um, you've all made my day. So this has been amazing. So many folks fear alive, but really there is nothing to be fearful of. There you go, Granny, right? Another truth bomb. So, but yes, I think it kind of ties back to the video you had this morning. So many people are fearful of being judged. But I think our own worst critic is ourselves. nobody else. So I say give yourself some grace. You don't have to do anything fancy. Just schedule a live, and there's plenty of people on here that could show you how to schedule a live. You can also go to any of the AI models and just say, tell me how to schedule a live on YouTube. And it will literally, and just say, give it to me as simply as possible, step by step, and it literally will. It'll tell you step by step what button to push and what to do. So, but again, if anybody that doesn't do lives wants to maybe try and just see how it goes, because it is, like Daniel said, it's a great way to grow the channel. It's a great way to get those hours up, which I think are a little bit harder in my mind than just the subscribers. We're all here to support you. So just ask. And I truly mean that. I'm not just saying that. We are here to support you. So Saturday night, another cooking with Gigi and May video. Making turkey and sausage meatball subs with homemade potato wedges. Okay, so barbecue sauce or pasta sauce on the meatballs. Ideas. Okay, let me think. Saturday night, another. So you're making turkey and sausage meatball subs with homemade potato. I say like a marinara sauce. I would say like a pasta sauce. But curious if anybody's tried it with barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauce is everything. I drown everything in barbecue sauce, whether it's my chicken or whether it's my steak. My family thinks I'm insane, but I love barbecue sauce. But I've never thought of doing it with the meatball sub. So definitely will tune in. And that's Saturday night. Okay. Looking forward to it. So anybody else suggestions on whether Daniel should do pasta sauce or barbecue sauce? Has anybody done barbecue sauce on their meatball subs? Or, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it sounds really good. I've just never done it. And I have to think about that. Your son loves barbecue. Yeah. Everything is better with barbecue sauce. And the joke, sometimes my family will go through these seasons where we try and cut out sugar. And it's mostly desserts and stuff that we're talking about. And I tell them all the time, there's no way I can cut out all my sugar because I need my barbecue sauce. I am addicted to barbecue sauce. It's got to be on everything. Well, you're welcome, Healthy Kitchen. And again, it's a genuine offer. So don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. Well, any of us. You buy the big ones at Sam's or Costco. Yeah, I get the 2-pack at Costco. I do Baby Ray's. I've tried many different kinds, but I guess as a staple or just my fallback on, it's Baby Ray's. So your family would like either? Yeah, again, I just never thought of barbecue sauce. I traditionally think of, the tomato sauce, and then I put provolone on top of the meatballs, stick it in the toaster oven and have it get all bubbly. So yeah, so for the barbecue sauce is, like I said, my go-to is Baby Ray's. But the farm that we go to puts out these specialty barbecue sauces. So every now and again, I will try one of those. It might be barbecue sauce with mango or peaches or apples or just different, maybe a little bit more tangy. But my fallback is always Baby Ray's. Your son loves the sweet ones. Yeah, I'm with your son. The roll is your favorite. Yeah, especially if, though I guess a nice fresh roll would be good too. But if you can stick it like in a toaster oven or just under the broiler, just that little bit of crispness with the cheese all melty and bubbling up. And so certainly going to make me hungry. Well, we're almost at the top of the hour, and I can't thank you guys enough. I really appreciate it. I won't keep you past the hour mark. I know we all have a lot to do, especially this week, but just try and remember, just if you can, just pause, sit at your kitchen table and have a cup of coffee, or just for all you Florida folks that can actually get outside maybe and sit outside, go listen to the birds sing, listen to what they're saying. I don't know. Again, I think we all need to pause, and it's the silence between the notes that makes the music. And I think it's the silence between the hustle and bustle and the noise of our lives is when we get the downloads, whether it be from God or your soul. I think we don't give ourselves enough time to just sit in silence. So, and again, whether it's Healthy Kitchen or Deb and Mike, I'd love to see lives from you folks. And I am no expert by any means, but willing to help any way I can. And keep spreading all the good messages, folks. Our channels are doing good, and I think what we're doing is so important to everybody, whether they stumble upon your channel or we send each other to different people's channels or whatnot. I think this is a really great group of people, and I'm honored to have found you guys. So, but that's it, guys. I really appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing day, or wherever you're watching in the world, maybe an evening. And I will not go live again before Christmas, so Merry Christmas to all of you, and maybe I'll catch some of you during your lives this weekend. But you guys are the best. I love all you guys, and just have a blessed holiday, okay? Stay safe, and look for those moments of peace. Thanks, folks. I'll see you soon. Take care.